Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And today's video is when you get caught in a fight between them. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And let's get going. He had been dating Katsuki and Ijiro for a while. And while it had its fiery moments, he wouldn't trade it for anything. Most of the time, their competitive nature were a source of amusement, like their never-ending arm wrestling tournaments, or who could eat the spiciest ramen without breaking a sweat? But then, there were days like today. You walked into the shared living room of your apartment, a bag of groceries in hand, to find a scene that was both familiar and utterly exasperating. Katsuki was practically vibrating with rage, his hands sparking with tiny explosions, while Kirishima stood across from him, arms crossed, a stubborn set to his jaw. The air was thick with tension, and it felt like you'd walked into an intense thunderstorm. I'm telling you, it's the only logical explanation, shitty hair. Katsuki growled, his voice a low rumble. Logical to you, maybe, Bakugo, but it makes no sense. Why would I do that? Kirishima retorted, his own voice rising in volume. You sighed, setting the grocery bag down with a thud that thankfully got their attention. Both of their heads snapped towards you, their expressions instantly softening, although the anger was still visible in their eyes. What's going on now? You asked, trying to keep your tone even, despite the headache that was already brewing behind your eyes. Kirishima scoffed, jerking his chin towards Bakugo. This guy thinks I purposely set his new limited edition All Might figurine on fire. Your eyes widened. Bakugo's All Might collection was sacred. He would acquire every single figurine, poster, and piece he could get his hands on. The idea of one of them being, well, damaged or even burned was a serious offense in this household. I didn't say it was on damn purpose, Kirishima. Bakugo interjected, although his voice still held a hint of accusation. But it was your turn to clean the living room, and it was right next to your side of the couch. But I wouldn't scorch your stupid plastic toy, Bakugo. Katsuki's palm started to pop again, tiny explosions blooming and dying. He pinched the bridge of your nose. Okay, hold on. Bakugo, where is the figurine? He gestured vaguely towards the square spot on the rug near the sofa. It was right there. Now it's just a puddle of melted plastic and ash. His voice was genuinely mournful, and for a moment, you almost felt sorry for him. Well, Kirishima, by any chance did you play with any, I don't know, matches today? But it wasn't big enough to melt that hunk of junk. It was limited edition. You shitty hair. Bakugo mumbled. Only 500 were made worldwide. You suppressed a groan. This was going to be a long afternoon. You walked over to the scorched spot, examining the melted plastic. It was definitely an All Might figure, no doubt about that. The colors were still faintly visible in the gooey mess. Kirishima, be honest, you said, turning back to him, your voice firm but not accusatory. Could a small match have accidentally hit it? He grumbled, shoving his hands in his pockets. Maybe, if the wind was blowing hard, and the figurine was already super hot from the sun. And maybe I sneezed at the exact wrong moment. Bakugo threw his hands up in exasperation. See, he's admitting it. He's just too stubborn to say damn sorry. I'm not apologizing for an act like that, Bakugo, Kirishima said, taking a step forward. He stepped between them, placing a hand on each of their chests, effectively halting their advance. Katsuki's chest was surprisingly warm, and Kirishima's was solid under your palm. Both of you, stop, you said, looking from one furious face to the other. Arguing isn't going to solve anything, or unmelt the figurine. Katsuki looked away, still fuming. while Kirishima's shoulders slumped slightly. Look, we continued. Accidents happen. Kirishima, even if it was an accident, you were the one who set it on fire. And Katsuki, I know it sucks, but getting mad at Kirishima isn't going to fix it. Katsuki let out a frustrated huff. Fine, whatever. It was an accident. Dumbass. Happy now. He still sounded like he was chewing nails. Kirishima surprisingly softened. Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Bakugo slumped slightly. I guess it still sucks though. It was my favorite one. He squeezed them gently. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Kirishima, you owe Katsuki a new figurine. And not just any. You need to find the exact one and replace it. And Katsuki, you're going to help him find it. No more fighting about it. Kirishima's eyes widened. Are you serious? That's going to cost a fortune. Well, it was a limited edition. Kirishima, you reminded him. And it was your fault. He grumbled again, but softly. But he saw a flicker of reluctant acceptance in his eyes. Katsuki, meanwhile, looked slightly prideful. And both of you can help me put away these groceries, and then maybe you can actually have a peaceful evening. For once. He gave each of them a pointed look, and slowly, the tension began to drain from their bodies. Katsuki still looked like he wanted to blow something up, but he didn't protest when you steered him towards the kitchen. Kirishima, on the other hand, gave you a small and grateful smile. As the three of you started putting away the groceries, the previous fight still hung in the air, but it felt less oppressive. You knew that they'd probably bicker about finding their placement figurine, but for now, the immediate crisis was averted. You just hoped your headache would subside soon. You truly loved them both, but sometimes their personalities were a literal explosive mess. And maybe it was entirely your fault for not stopping them from fighting in the first place, but you'd never admit that, would you? Oh well, anyways, thank you guys for listening. Hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye!